Mind, Body, Life show hosted by Frederick Entenmann on Global Voice Radio on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. During his show, Mind, Body, Life founder and best-selling author Frederick Entenmann investigates the little-known insights and daily methods used to create explosive life transformations and transitions with those that have risen from struggle and ascended to greatness. Here is your Mind, Body, Life host, Frederick Entenmann.
Welcome to the Mind, Body, Life podcast with yours truly, Frederick Entenmann. Today, I'm very excited. I have on the show Denise Thompson, who is a coach, a champion for women finding their power within, a catalyst for transformation, a speaker, writer, a colonel, and veteran. Denise is the CEO of Global Voice Radio and the Coach Alliance. She's the creator, compiler, and co-author of Live in Gratitude Daily, The Key to Abundance, Joy and Love, and Discover Your Destiny, Live Your Dreams, Love Your Life, expert tips on creating success. And she was featured expert in the I Am Enough and Unleashed magazines in 2016. Denise, it's so nice to have you on the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Frederick. I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm excited to talk with you about a book that you and I are both in, and then also to talk about what's going on in your business and what the new things are that you're doing.
Yes, it's really fantastic to have you on the show because you are the creator and CEO. And, the one thing we have a huge commonality is we both went to Florida State University, but you have a background in social work. And I kind of wanted to briefly delve into that first, as to where did your interest come from to pursue that career?
Okay. Well, my journey is interesting. And sometimes when I look at my life, I still don't believe what I have been able to experience and be exposed to. So I grew up in a very small town in Iowa, and I was very involved in our church, the Lutheran church, when I was growing up. And I had decided, it was probably about my junior or senior year, and I had decided I was going to go to a Lutheran college. And originally, I had thought about taking religious studies with the idea that I would go to seminary. And so I got to college, and I'm choosing my classes, and I'm talking to advisors and talking about what I want to do, and where do I fit in? Where do I fit in the world? How was I going to serve? And through these discussions, it was decided, right? I received the decision that I wasn't to go down the path that I thought I was to go down. And my path was to go into social work. And at first, that was a hard decision because my heart was sort of set on, no, I'm going to go into religious studies, I'm going to go to seminary. But I also understood where the path was leading me, because as a social worker, I was still working with people. I wasn't working with a specific congregation. I was working with anyone who I came into contact with, anyone in the agency, anyone in whatever line of work that I would be working in regards to being a social worker. So in some ways, my congregation became the world instead of people coming into one building. So from that, I did go to Florida State for my master's, where I focused on clinical psychiatric social work, learned a lot about diagnoses and treating people. And so, but that was the beginning, which through the years has led me to where I am today.
That's amazing. I had no idea about your journey, by the way. Wow. And I didn't know you were from Iowa. How cool. You're from actually the Midwest.
Yes.
It takes quite a mindset to be a CEO and run your own business. But have you always been so determined and so disciplined and organized? Where does this drive come from?
Well, I think if you ask my parents, now my father's passed away, but if you asked my mom and dad, they'd probably say, well, she was always a little bit determined to do what I wanted to do, but not in a bad way. I mean, I was good at making decisions and knowing that I was going to move forward. I was going to, be good in school. And luckily, I'm also intelligent, so that school was not difficult, right? So if I knew what I wanted to do and what path I was on, then I was sort of determined to do that. Now, some of the discipline organization came from when I was 25, and it was in 1991, so I'm dating myself. I decided to go into the military. So as a social worker, I was commissioned into the military, and so I have 26 plus years, and the active duty time that I've had, I think that's added to my focus, my determination, my knowing that I can create what I want in my life, and that I am capable of doing things that we normally don't think people are, or we question our own abilities. So I've also done a lot of work in the area of crises and disaster.
Okay.
And in dealing with those things, you have to be able to make decisions, right? You have to trust your gut, and you trust your training, and you make that decision to the best of your ability to help the situation and the people who are affected by those things. So I think the different jobs, the different careers that I've had have given me the organizational skills, the administrative understanding of how systems work, how to build something, how to develop something. And part of it is probably my innate personality and characteristics that has allowed me, again, to come from a small town in Iowa. We had 2,000 people.
Wow.
Getting my master's degree, being promoted to colonel in the military, and now creating Global Voice Radio and bringing together people from all these countries so that we can share our message, share our voice, and that we can create change. And sometimes I'm like, oh, is this really me, right? Am I the one doing this? And meeting great people like you and like-minded, heart-centered, spirit-led individuals who really do want to serve the world.
That is incredible. I'm really a colonel. I mean, it really, to me, it explains why you've this path and journey. I see it very clearly how it's led to leadership and personal growth, and now you're leading this Global Voice Radio, and you're quite an advocate of gratitude. And just a little background very briefly before we were on, I had no idea you were actually in action, bullets fired at you and whatnot. That's, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. But I can only imagine what that does for you and the perspective that brings to your life, and what an effect that has had. Consequently, now you have this journal or book of gratitude, which I think is just amazing, because my background is actually, when I got into gratitude, it actually changed my life. It's probably one of the top 3 things that took me in a different direction to what I'm doing now. So how have you personally seen gratitude affect other people's lives?
One of the things that I have been blessed with since creating Live in Gratitude Daily, over the past year in our public Facebook group, and there's about 1,300 of us, there have been individuals who joined us in January of 2017. So almost a year's worth of sharing with us, listening to our message. They private message me how gratitude, how this journal, how us doing our Facebook Lives every day for almost a year, how it has helped them deal with chronic pain, how it has helped them to deal with loss of family members, how it has helped them to deal with spouses and children, the gratitude that the members of our group have developed over this past year by writing in their journal, by listening to our messages, it has changed their lives significantly. We've had individuals talk about their signs of depression decreasing, signs of anxiety decreasing, their happiness and joy increasing. We've had individuals whose businesses have taken off because they've now been able to focus more on gratitude and what they have and what they can create than they were focusing on the things that they did not have. So I have been so blessed, and I've gotten to know some of our members so well because, like I said, they private message me and they thank me and the book, and I give credit to my co-authors for joining me in creating the 365-page journal with a message of gratitude every day, because I could not have done this by myself. It was the collective energy and vibration and love that we put into this book and that we show up in our public group every day to support our members.
That's amazing. And actually, I feel like most don't understand the power of gratitude, even though we just briefly spoke about it. You know, what is the psychological phenomenon, and why should people make it a priority to incorporate more gratitude into their lives? I feel like not only do people take their lives for granted, but they don't even consider gratitude. I mean, I know I didn't. Are there any type of techniques or, to even begin that people can start implementing?
One of the things that is very easy to do, and what I recommend for someone who wants to start off, is to start with themselves. And one of the things that they can do, and I recommend people can do this on a colored piece of paper, a colored note card, something that's going to catch their attention. And they put it on their mirror. And they have one on their mirror for the morning that when they get up and they can't remember right as they wake up in bed, as soon as they go into the bathroom and start getting ready, there's this note that they can say, I am grateful for myself, right? I am grateful for waking up this morning. And that starts our mindset. That starts the physiological changes that are associated with that thought of gratitude. Because we know when we have a positive thought, it increases how our body is reacting, right? Our blood flow is affected, our oxygen levels can be affected because what our mind is doing, right? It's sending messages throughout our whole system. And then also to have a reminder for right before they go to bed to say, I am grateful for this day, and I am grateful for the sleep that I am going to have that will give me another day tomorrow. And a person doing those two things, those two statements, and their I am statements, which you and I know how important I am is, right? I am.
Very powerful.
Anything we think after it, and the words that we say and the words that we write down, that creates a reality. So an individual needs to start with themselves first. And then when they're used to doing that, they can add writing down, and it can be 3 to 5 things. What are they grateful for every day? But one of the things that I have found the most helpful is we start with a simple habit, a simple reminder, a simple behavior or activity, so that we are laying the foundation. So sort of brick by brick, we're creating a strong foundation of gratitude. From that, everything else flows into our life.
Yes, it does. That's exactly what happened in mine. And it's one of those things that it needs to be implemented. It needs to be practiced. It is just one more thing, but it's so powerful. once you gain the awareness, I now cannot live without it. So it's something they don't even teach in school.
Right, and it would be amazing. And what came to mind as you said that they're not teaching that in school, it'd be interesting. There's probably some obscure location where the teacher is enlightened or awakened, and they may actually be teaching some sort of gratitude. But if we did teach it, starting, and we're teaching parents, right? So they could start with their 2-year-old and the 3-year-olds, and to help them to have a sense of gratitude. And for the parents to also, right? Because we teach the parents to help their children, but in teaching the parents about their children, we actually end up teaching the parents to be grateful. So now you can have this generational gratefulness within one family.
Yes, absolutely.
And then they go to school, and then we're teaching it in churches, and then we're teaching it in communities. And the ripple effect of that, if you can only imagine the energy and vibration that would come out of a world where everyone is grateful.
A collective consciousness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It'd be great.
Yes. You know, one of the other things that was interesting, and in how this book came about for me, and it shows what we can get done when we set our mind to it. I had a thought of writing a gratitude journal since about the middle of 2016. And life got hectic, life got busy, things got in the way. And I had gone to a women's retreat in Maui the end of October of 2016. And we had gone up to see the sunrise. And as we were watching that sunrise, my heart had been sad because I'd not done this book. And it's like, it hit me as I saw that sunrise, and the cover actually has part of a sunrise on it.
Oh, wow.
It hit me that, and I just realized, I'm looking at the book and you can see it behind me, and it just struck me that the sunrise is in my book. It's on the cover. And I realized that I needed to let what was in my heart out. So in less than 60 days, I created, with my co-authors, a 365-page journal. And we launched for the beginning of 2017. And you mentioned you can't imagine having a life without gratitude now because of the practice that you've had. And I don't remember who I was the summer of 2016, right? Because I have had over a year of living in live in gratitude daily, right? That's the lifestyle. Live in gratitude daily lifestyle. So I'm totally changed to who I was before.
It's a great way in a transition to what I was going to bring up next, because when it comes to personal growth, and I'm speaking from thousands of clients that I've personally worked with over 15 plus years, the general consensus is, well, I've never really invested in personal growth or myself because it all seems so overwhelming. When you actually sit down and think about everything an individual usually wants to work on, it overloads the mind. But what I love about this gratitude journal or book, you get 1 page per day. If you have it by your bed, you reach for that instead of your phone, and you just implement such a healthy habit that you're right. I feel the same way. I can't remember quite who I was or my mentality years ago before I implemented my gratitude rituals, which do incorporate I am statements and, AM and PM. And now it's like walking. It's like walking. It's been extremely powerful. And now I actually get the comments oh my gosh, you're so powerful and you're so happy. And it's almost strange to people because they've forgotten how to live from their heart. And that's what it takes you back to your heart.
Right. The other thing is, it doesn't change the fact that we're human. It doesn't change the fact that we don't have that little twinge when something isn't going the right way.
Right.
What I see that happens, though, is we have that twinge, and how quickly we replace it with a thought of gratitude or a positive thought or an acknowledgement of, yes, this happened. I didn't want it to disrupt my day, but it's not the worst thing that could happen. And I understand, I don't want to discount either when something terrible, awful does happen to somebody, because there are some tragedies that you're not just going to switch your mindset to gratitude a few seconds afterwards. But most of the time, things in our life that would frustrate us or annoy us, and like driving in traffic.
Great example.
That is a great example. And oftentimes we want to yell at that other driver. But a moment of gratitude can be, for whatever reason, that driver allowed me to slow down. I am now noticing what's going on around me. Perhaps I would have been in an accident if the other driver hadn't cut me off. Perhaps they are in more of a hurry and they need to get to the doctor's office. Whatever our thought might come up with, the idea is to recognize whatever that behavior is that affects us or annoys us. There could be another reason behind it that we can just accept and not get caught up in yelling at them, right? Or giving them the finger or whatever people might do in traffic.
Seen that a lot.
That deep breath and realizing, for whatever reason, those 5 seconds slowed me down for whatever reason, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I really love your example of how you felt, because you knew here you had this creativity inside of you and it was not expressed, and you went out to Hawaii and you had these feelings bottled up that I truly believe each individual has. Mm-hmm. And you actually just took the appropriate steps forward and voila, here you are. But it didn't happen overnight. You actually worked on yourself. And me being a mind, body, life coach and consultant, I have come up with a 90-day seize the day group program that closes out the end of this year, because prior to what I'm doing now, I actually was in sports performance and I worked with individual clientele, mostly collegiate and professional athletes. But come New Year's, everybody all of a sudden has a sense of urgency to tackle everything that they've ever wanted to tackle. And the end result is overwhelm, burnout. You can't possibly keep up with that pace. So I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to come up with a 12-week program that I'm only taking 6 people. And because one of the largest, I'd say if you know personal growth research, it's a lack of accountability why most people just fall off anyway. So right. This group's going to provide an individual with an accountability partner. It's going to be a group of like-minded individuals that want to initiate their new year with a good amount of growth. But I can tell you one thing a week, not 20.
Right.
And at the end of 12 weeks, it's going to be 12 new installed habits, gratitude being one of those. In today's society, I think a huge problem is the diversions, the distractions. I hear all the time, hey, can I buy some time back? Or what happens to my time? And this is another thing that's going to be addressed. Health and wellness. There's always an avenue that someone's not happy with, but it's really my main purpose of doing this is to help people come out of whatever they're feeling. I know every individual is different, but I do know that the ability to get in touch with your purpose, feel great, have more energy, create more time for yourself, and actually live your life according to what you really want is what living is all about. And that's when you're going to feel fantastic.
I agree with everything that you just said, Frederick. And you and I know that we are like-minded individuals. And I think what's important, and you hit on it when you talked about your program, is you are helping individuals to create habits, positive habits, but also habits create a lifestyle. And one of the things that, and I know when the word resolution first came out, or that was an important thing for us to do in the new year, but it missed an important component, and you mentioned it, was accountability. But also, there's now this stigma or stereotype to resolutions that we know aren't going to last, or they're so huge that who could accomplish it? So one of the things that you and I have in common is to help people to create a lifestyle that they can live every day, that they know is a positive lifestyle, and including gratitude, which you mentioned is in your course. You are going to help people to create that as part of their lifestyle.
Absolutely.
We don't have to have a resolution to change our life, because you're living every day in a way that we don't need those distractions, right? Because people hide in Facebook and online and Googling and doing that other stuff. But if we're living a lifestyle, as you said, mind, body, spirit, cohesion, we don't need those distractions.
No, and actually, the more I started working on myself, and by the way, this did not take, even a year. I've been working on this my whole lifetime. I mean, it's not something that's just going to miraculously snap and happen. This takes time, people, okay? And if you can just start with, what I've done, I've taken 15 years of my work, and you're going to learn 12 of the best habits I've seen people instill into their lives that's changed their lives. Not overwhelming, but work on those over 90 days, and they will initially, yes, be difficult, but the more you practice, it takes about 66 days to form a new habit, to become automaticity, right? And yeah, you're going to be moving forward. But what I hate to see is people talk about what they want, and they're still talking about that exact same thing the next year and the next year. And like a lot of my friends, I love them, from high school and my childhood, and they're still doing the same things, talking the same way they did 25 years ago. It's just, that's what drives me. That is what drives me.
And one of the things, I think it also goes back to what you said your program offers, because you're going to connect with those 6 people, is the accountability. And so our friends who are talking about something for 25 years, they never had an accountability partner, or they never were in a supportive program that could actually help them to implement and to look at what they wanted. And sometimes we also can hold on to that, I wish I had this at 25 and I'm going to continue to work on it until I'm 60, and not have that new view of what is it that you really want today. Letting go perhaps of that pipe dream.
Right.
Because it might not be applicable today. So think of a new dream, think of a new goal, think of a new lifestyle that makes sense to each person where they're at today, not where we wished we were when we were 25.
Exactly. And in today's society of, shiny objects and, like I said, diversions, humans have never been more confused in their lives either. I mean, we're getting hit from all different directions like never before. That the modern society, you now require a different skill set. And the further back you go, like my generation or your generation, it's almost like we have to relearn.
Yes, and there's so much. I mean,
Coping skills.
it's really exciting to learn, but also sometimes very frustrating, right? Just the concept of all the technology, and which also then I'm just grateful for technology, right? Have to let, even though it's frustrating, it's like, wow, I mean, what we're able to do today that we didn't do 25 years ago. But it's very interesting, and it's helpful to people to have a supportive environment to be able to get over that hump a little bit, to get past the fear of learning new habits, the fear of letting go of old habits because they're comfortable.
Great point. And I think that was mine actually. Was I have fears, it's not really easy when there's so much new, and you and I did not grow up with technology. Like this, I don't know about you, but this is nuts. And quite honestly, how I feel, I'm not a dumb down, and the learning curve is huge. But I think that's how most people feel with personal growth, because that's my expertise. I think they're kind of in that cart of, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go there because it's just going to overwhelm me. And well, if you look at people that, I don't know if idolize is the right word, but people that they look to aspire to be like, let's just say the top 5%. And I want to be successful. And, when I played basketball, I wanted to be like Larry Bird or Michael Jordan. Well, they have the best coaches. They have the best mentors. They know the power of being held accountable. And not only did they invest in that, but I know personally that Michael Jordan wouldn't let anyone else hire out his coach because he paid him so well. He said, I'm paying you so no one else can hire you. And that's one of the best examples. I just love that. But yes, accountability is that powerful, and growth can be a little uncomfortable, but this is an opportunity for, if anyone's listening and you want to grow forward in 2018, there are 6 spots you can go to. Just type in seizethedayprogram.com, and that will take you to a greater explanation. You'll see a nice little video of me, and you'll be able to register online. If you want to talk to me personally, you can register for a personal phone call and ask me more detailed questions as well. You can go online to my Mind, Body, Life Facebook group. Please join that. And like your group, my Mind, Body, Life group, I just created 2 months ago, and that's kind of a community to ask questions and engage. And I put out kind of a daily post to keep you interested and committed towards growing forward.
Well, and I enjoy your Facebook group because oftentimes then you'll see my comments when I'm up between 5 and 6 in the morning, and I see your posts. That's one of the first things that I see when I'm up. And sometimes, and there's one that I keep seeing, and I'm not sure if it's a sign, but it's the one that talks about, oh, when you get up, do that 15 minutes of exercise or physical activity.
I put that out there quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, why am I always seeing this? And also, sometimes when you continue to see something, it's a sign that maybe you need to look at, why is that not in your life? Or is it in your life and you're doing a good job? So I usually see that as I have my first cup of coffee and I'm sitting maybe going to watch TV or just sitting after getting up, and I'm like, oh, I got to go do that 15 minutes of physical exercise. And that does make a difference early in the morning. Get your body going. And but I love seeing your posts early in the morning. They're inspirational, and they're usually right on in regards to mind, body, life, and what are we doing that starts our morning off or keeps us going during the day.
Well, I appreciate that, and especially coming from you. That made my day because you're very honest. But Denise, I really enjoyed the time speaking with you. Thank you for being on the show. And
I really appreciate, talking with you, Frederick. I always love our conversations, but I also want to acknowledge that you are one of the co-authors in Live in Gratitude Daily. We're relaunching the book. We've added a few authors. There's a few new quotes in the book. And we'll be in our Facebook group, Live in Gratitude Daily. We'll be having another year of supporting individuals in having gratitude in their life. And I know, Frederick, you're going to sign up and do some of the Facebook Lives to our membership.
Absolutely.
And so hopefully not only will people join your Facebook group, Mind, Body, Life, but also join our Live in Gratitude Daily. And you can see Frederick more than one day posting. And I think what we can provide to people in 2018 is just going to be amazing.
That sounds great. I love it. Thank you so much, Denise.
Well, you're welcome, Frederick. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us. Listen every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern to Frederick Entenmann, host Mind, Body, Life. Connect with Frederick at www.globalvoiceradio.com. Tune in next week for another edition of Mind, Body, Life on Global Voice Radio.